Hey Steelers Nation! Before we jump into today's breaking news, let me remind you this team is working relentlessly to improve every single day. From the front office to the field, the goal is simple: become a contender and bring a Lombardi back to Pittsburgh. So if you love your Steelers and want to stay on top of everything that's happening at training camp, do us a favor, hit that like button and subscribe right now. It really helps the channel grow and keeps the conversation going strong. Now, let's talk about one of the most surprising headlines of training camp so far. Veteran return specialist and utility weapon Cordarrelle Patterson is officially no longer a Pittsburgh Steeler. And folks, the news didn't come from a press release. It came directly from Patterson himself in a very blunted, slightly humorous social media post. Breaking news: Pittsburgh Steelers release old washed-up Cordarrelle Patterson on his day off. Let's break this down. Patterson, 34, was entering the second year of a 2-year, $6 million deal he signed with the Steelers back in March of 2024. Many fans had high hopes for what he could bring, not just as a return man, but also as a versatile depth option out of the backfield and in the slot. But according to multiple sources, the team felt it was time to go in a younger direction. With training camp battles heating up, and with rookies and younger veterans stepping up, the Steelers made a tough call and saved around $3.75 million in cap space per spot RAC. Was it a football decision? A business move? Likely both. Let's not act like Patterson was completely washed. In fact, in limited action last season, he was still producing. 13 games played, 135 rushing yards, 80 receiving yards, 11 kick returns for 240 yards, while those numbers won't jump off the page. Patterson was still a respected leader in the locker room and a proven playmaker, especially in special teams. Let's not forget, this man holds the NFL record for most career kickoff return touchdowns with 9. That's more than legends like Josh Cribbs and Leon Washington did over the course of his career. Patterson put up 2,646 rushing yards, 2,875 receiving yards, 8,229 return yards, 48 total touchdowns for Pro Bowl selections for first-team All-Pro honors. Did all of that across 12 seasons with the Vikings, Raiders, Patriots, Bears, Falcons, and now briefly, the Steelers. So yeah, washed up might be a stretch, but clearly, the Steelers saw a ceiling in terms of what Patterson could still contribute in 2025. There are a few key reasons this release may have happened right now during training camp. 1. Youth movement on special teams. The Steelers have been heavily investing in younger, more explosive athletes to handle return duties. Rookie WRRB hybrids, cornerbacks, and even backup RBS have all gotten reps in the return game so far this summer. Point 2. Cap flexibility. With TJ Watt's contract negotiations still unresolved, freeing up $3.75 million in cap space gives Omar Khan just a little more wiggle room if things escalate. 3. Patterson's role was unclear. Let's be honest, Patterson didn't have a defined offensive role last season. He was barely used on offense, and the team didn't seem eager to expand his workload in 2025. He became a redundancy in the RB room, especially with Jaylen Warren and Najee Harris healthy. 4. Roster spots are getting tight as camp battles intensify. Fringe roster spots matter. That WR5 or RB4 role could go to a hungry undrafted player or a younger returner with upside. Now, if that bombshell wasn't enough, let's talk about another concerning development at training camp. Undrafted rookie wide receiver Montana Lemonious, who was starting to turn heads this offseason, suffered a lower body injury during Sunday's practice and did not finish the session. Coach Mike Tomlin told reporters greater than WR Montana Lemonious Scragg wasn't able to finish today with a soft tissue injury in the lower body. That's not what you want to hear during the first full week of padded practices. While the team hasn't released a timeline for his return, soft tissue injuries are notoriously tricky. They can linger if not treated properly. And here's the kicker: Lemonious Scragg was quietly building momentum this offseason after going undrafted out of Arizona. The former Colorado standout signed with Pittsburgh just before OTAs. He impressed coaches during rookie minicamp and stuck around through mandatory minicamp and the early stages of training camp. His collegiate resume shows promise. 2021 at Colorado, 10 catches, 123 yards. 2 TDs. 2022, 359 yards, and 3 TDs on 23 catches final 2 years at Arizona, 468 yards and 4 TDs across 24 games. He's not a burner, but his route running and strong hands stood out especially in red zone drills. Unfortunately, Lamonius Scragg wasn't the only player bitten by the injury bug. Broderick Jones, the promising offensive tackle, also suffered a soft tissue injury on Sunday. UDFA tight end fullback DJ Thomas Jones is feared to have torn his Achilles, which could be season-ending if confirmed. That's a rough string of news for a team trying to solidify its depth before preseason even kicks off. So where does this leave the Steelers? 1. Return game wide open. With Patterson gone, the return duties are up for grabs. Could we see someone like Calvin Austin, 3, or a camp surprise take the role? Special teams coach Danny Smith will have options, but they'll be watching closely. In the preseason. 2. Pressure on young WRS to step up with Lamonius Scragg sidelined. Guys like Deuce Watts, Jordan Byrd, or Tyron Billy Johnson might get an extended look. Point 3. Roster spots are earned now. Veterans and rookies alike are on. Notice, the Steelers aren't waiting until late August to make decisions. They're trimming the fat now for Omar Khan is not playing games. These early moves show that the front office is serious about crafting a roster that can compete in 2025. Sentimentality isn't a factor. Production, health, and upside are. The Pittsburgh Steelers are entering the 2025 season with a ton of new faces, and expectations are sky high. All eyes are on Aaron Rodgers, of course, but his success is going to depend heavily on his new go-to guy wide receiver, DK Metcalf. The Steelers pulled off a blockbuster trade to bring Metcalf over from the Seahawks earlier this offseason, and they didn't waste any time locking him in with a massive contract extension worth over $30 million per year, so it's no surprise that Week 1 against the New York Jets has already been circled in red on every Steelers fan's calendar. The matchup features Rodgers facing his former team, Justin Fields taking on the Steelers after a short stint in Pittsburgh last year, and now thanks to a major scheme change in New York, it also features a superstar wide receiver battle that could set the tone for the entire season, DK Metcalf versus Sauce Gardner. And let me tell you, this matchup just got a whole lot tougher for Metcalf. According to ESPN's Rich Tomini, the Jets' new defensive coordinator, Aaron Glenn, is making major changes to the team's defensive philosophy. Under the previous coaching staff, Gardner, one of the best young cornerbacks in the NFL, rarely followed opposing no-1 wideouts all over the field. That's about to change. Here's what Tomini had to say. Gardner has quietly yearned to cover the opponent's no-1 receiver. In the previous defensive scheme, zone-based, he did it only a handful of times each season, mostly in the red zone. He said it might be in the new scheme, which is expected to rely heavily on man-to-man coverage. Gardner also said he might get some blitzing opportunities, which he relishes. Translation: DK Metcalf is going to have Sauce Gardner in his face all game long. This is not the news Steelers fans were hoping for heading into such a critical opener. Metcalf was brought in to be the guy the elite deep threat Rodgers can rely on. Pittsburgh didn't trade away valuable assets and pay top-tier money just to have Metcalf serve as a decoy. He's expected to be the focal point of the passing game, and in Week 1, he's going to be tested immediately by arguably the best cover corner in the NFL. So what does this mean for the Steelers' offense? Well, it's going to be the ultimate litmus test, not just for Metcalf, but for the chemistry between him and Rodgers. These two need to get on the same page early and often, because the Jets' defense isn't going to give them much room to breathe. The good news, Rodgers knows Sauce Gardner well. After spending a full season practicing against him with the Jets in 2023, Rodgers may have a few tricks up his sleeve that can expose some of Gardner's weaknesses. Gardner himself recently commented on the matchup, and it sounds like he's excited for the challenge. I think it's going to be fun. There's going to be a lot of smiling out there, a lot of competing out there. I'm looking forward to it. I know Aaron is a competitor. They've got DK over there, who also is a competitor. I think it's going to be a pretty good game. Steelers fans, this isn't just a game, it's a statement opportunity. The saying goes, to be the best, you've got to beat the best. And that's exactly what Metcalf has to do. If he can go out there in a hostile road environment and win matchups against Sauce Gardner, it'll send a message to the entire league. This Steelers offense is for real, and with Rodgers under center, it's not just hype, it's execution. Let's not forget what's at stake here. The Steelers ended 2024 with an epic collapse, losing 4 of their last 5 games before sneaking into the playoffs at 10-7. That stumble can't happen again. Not if Pittsburgh wants to be taken seriously in the AFC. Getting off to a hot start in 2025 is absolutely essential. That makes Week 1 more than just a revenge game for Rodgers. It's a tone setter. It's about proving that this revamped Steelers, the squad, is better, sharper, and more explosive than the team we saw fade down the stretch last year. There are other factors at play too. The Steelers' offensive line will need to hold up against a physical Jets front. Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren will have to provide some balance on the ground, and offensive coordinator Arthur Smith has to scheme Metcalf open, even if Gardner is shadowing him. This is where coaching matters. Smith has to be creative, stack formations, motion, rub routes, anything to get Metcalf free and let Rodgers work his magic. And if the Jets really are going to play heavy man-to-man coverage, the Steelers' secondary receivers and tight ends will have opportunities to make plays. Pat Freiermuth, Roman Wilson, Calvin Austin, those guys can't disappear. Because if New York devotes all their attention to Metcalf, someone else needs to step up and punish them. But let's not sugarcoat it. This Metcalf versus Gardner matchup is the one everyone's watching. And it just got more intense with Aaron Glenn letting Sauce do what he does best, lock down elite receivers. So what do you think about all this, Steelers fans? Was it the right move to release Cordarrelle Patterson now? Should the team have given him one more shot in preseason? And with Lamonius Gregg sidelined, who are you watching closely at WRL? Let us know in the comments below. We want to hear your take. And don't forget to smash that like button if you appreciate this kind of daily Steelers coverage. We're just getting started this training camp, and more news is sure to drop. Subscribe to the channel so you never miss a breaking story, an injury update, or an inside scoop on your favorite team. Until next time, here we go. Steelers, let's get that 7th ring.